Hey, how's everybody this morning? Is everything okay with everybody, huh? I don't know the name of the holiday they had yesterday. It was I think it's strictly a religious type holiday, but they light candles and they have a nice dinner and everything. And my in-laws did that with my stepson, and his in-laws did that, and I sort of stayed home. I can't sit in the furniture in these, and it's not that it's bad furniture, it's just not made for anybody my size. And I usually get stuck, and they say, "Oh, sit, this chair's good for you." No, it's not. And the next day I'm paralyzed. So, plus I don't have a lot to talk about when I'm with these people, you know. But that's all. That's, you know. That was yesterday. Today's football Sunday. But before we get there, I had something written down here that I saw yesterday. Oh yeah. Now, you know, we've talked about. Well, first of all, the big news is ASSAD, the leader of Syria, is gone, and he was supposedly a very brutal, nasty son of a bitch, and now he's no longer around. He's been deposed. That I guess they'll execute him eventually, but they haven't yet. Putting him in prison doesn't do a lot of good because he's got friends everywhere. They have friends. As bad as these people are, they have friends. You know, I don't. So you have to, you have to pay attention to that stuff. You know. He's gone, and I don't know what these rebels are like. They could be worse, you know. There's a lot of articles out there, so I have to wait till they sort through the stuff, and I can condense it a little bit so I can know what I'm reading, you know. But that took care of that story, and the next one that came up to me is Hegseth, the defense nominee. Has proposed put forward a proposition to privatize the health care for veterans, and the guys are all going nuts about this. You know, the vets. You know, this is just you get people you think they're not good for the you know, they like soldiers, they don't like veterans. What's the difference? You know, they don't care about nobody in this country cares about the veterans properly. These guys, for whatever the reasons are, go out and decide they're going to fight. And then the amount of soldiers, people that volunteered after 9/11 was amazing. It was like after war. It was like after Pearl Harbor. You know, not quite as intense, but because people don't like war anymore. You know, people aren't rah-rah anymore about war. They figured, you know, they got lucky. Oh, it'll never happen again. Well, yeah, it won't happen again. Maybe. With Trump's in office, you never know what's going to happen. You know? He cuts budgets, and you know, you got people that don't care. The thing is, you now have people in the administration that don't care about the planet. Never mind America. They want to get off this planet. You know, they're basically telling you this is a doomed planet. You know, we have to get away. I don't know, you know, if it's doomed, but I know eventually it's just not going to be around anymore. Nothing lasts forever. That's one of the things people have to understand. So we have to go out and colonize other worlds if we want our society. And I don't want our society necessarily to survive. I want the people to survive. They can try new societies and see what happens, you know. The way we're going right now, the totalitarian guys that love totalitarian governments, you know, look at the economies in those governments. Look how people live, the standard of living and whatnot. You know, Americans have a standard of living where they believe the economy is good or bad, which is better than 90% of the other countries in the world. You know, even our poor people live better than poor people in other countries. Maybe. I'm not. I don't want to say that as a definite fact because I'm not really sure because I haven't made the trip to other countries. I've seen the homeless people in America, and a lot of them are veterans because we don't care. All right, listen. They went out, put their life on the line, shot a few of the enemy. They're good. They're no. What are we going to do with them? You know. Well, I got his job when he left. I'm not giving up the job when he comes back. And they don't. A lot of them don't give up their jobs. They just, veterans are. I don't know if you've ever experienced what a veteran experiences. I haven't, but I've talked to enough of them. I go back. I've talked to World War II vets. I met one guy one time that told me a story about Audie Murphy, the most decorated soldier in World War II. And they told me the safest place to be with Audie Murphy was behind him, because he didn't care. Well, if you were in front of him, he'd shoot you. That's just the way he was. He shot anything that moved in front of him because he was scared, just like the rest of us. Heroes do crazy stuff, and they do it because a lot of times because they're scared, and they're just trying to survive. They're not doing it to save lives, somebody else's life. They're doing it to try and save their life. In some cases there are true heroes. I'm not sure Audie Murphy was a true hero, and I think that's why he ended up taking his own life, because he knew how many of his own men he had killed by accident. Friendly fire routine. I don't think he ever believed he deserved to be a hero. True heroes don't believe they deserve to be called a hero, But anyhow, we have people that don't care about our veterans. Man, I've seen guys, like I said, I've talked to a lot of vets. Most of them, if you knew them before, they were different when they came back. I had some guy I knew went to Vietnam and came back, and on the surface he looked all right. He drank far too much. And he looked okay, nothing wrong with him. And then you find out that the guy sleeps with a loaded 45 caliber pistol under his pillow and won't take it away. And then when I went into service and I was down at Fort Dix, I met a bunch of guys that came back. It was the same story. They slept with guns. They were afraid of their own people. Black people were afraid of the white people. White people were afraid of the black people. It's a ridiculous situation. If I go to war with somebody, if I go to war and I'm going to be in a fight, and the guy next to and I have a transvestite, gay guy, a black guy, and a Puerto Rican, I don't care. Can they shoot? Are they mad at me? Do they want to kill me? Or are they going to fight? If they're going to fight, I don't care. I don't care if it's male or female that's next to me. If they're going to fight, but that war sucks. It's everybody I've ever talked to will tell you the same thing. War sucks. It's like this. It's like the song. Eric Burton sings for war. War. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at with that one. I don't like this whole thing. Privatize the vets. They tried to privatize Social Security for a long time, and it doesn't work right. Because there's people out there that aren't educated enough to deal with that, and veterans aren't. Not that they're not educated, but veterans come back with a lot of friggin' mental issues. Even the ones that look perfectly normal have some issue. drop a firecracker next to him if you don't think so. You know, and if you survive it, the guy doesn't chase you down and kill you. You know, he just jumps and hides, or he just twitches real bad or something. You know, if they were in actual combat, they'll react to that. You know, I have been shot at, but not in combat. I got shot in the arm with a BB gun. Some guys when I was driving down the street in Orange, New Jersey. I've had guns pointed at me by police officers who thought I was somebody else during the Newark riots. I've been shot at while hunting. That's even scarier. So, you know, I think we don't do enough for our veterans, because these are people that went out. I don't think we owe them a free ride, but I think you need to be able to do more than we're doing. All right? And that's the two stories that I had. And now that brings us to Football Sunday. I made some picks, and I'll try to go over a little bit with you. When the Steelers play the Browns, I'm taking the Steelers. It's a tough game. Those rivalry games like that are always tough, you know. But I think the Steelers are on their way to turning everything around. The Saints and the Giants. Well, the Giants are an enigma. The Giants have a fairly decent quarterback in Drew Luck now, but I think the rest of the team sucks, and we'll have to see what happens there. Because I'll take the Saints. The Giants, I think, are playing for the #1 draft choice, but you don't know. You know, you can't really figure that one out yet. Like I say, they're sort of an enigma. They need coaches, you know. But I think last year they were in the same position and turned around and won 3 straight games and lost a high-round draft quarterback. So I don't think they're going to do it this year. I think they're just in the tank. You know, so won't be on my list of games to watch. Titans versus Jaguars. Jags are another 2-10 team. I have absolutely no faith in them. It could be one of those games, you know, where you've got two teams that are equally bad and they turn out to play a good game. So I wouldn't just, wipe it off. But I'm taking the Titans in that one. The Vikings. I'm going to take the Vikings over the Falcons, and I'm really happy for Darnell, the quarterback of the Vikings. He got really screwed over when he played for the Jets. And he's had a rough road. Now he seems to be playing good, and I'm rooting for the Vikings and picking the Vikings. And then you got the Eagles over the Panthers. Eagles are going to go back to the playoffs as I don't know what they call them, Super Bowl favorites. I hate their quarterback. I hate that they play a tush push. They call it. It's from this. If you're old enough, you remember single wing football. That's what that is. That play is single wing football, which is been outlawed because they interlock their legs. And you can't interlock your arms, but they're interlocking your legs. So it's questionable. But I'll pick the Eagles over the Panthers just because I don't think the Panthers have it. Tampa Bay over the Raiders. Now the Raiders have a halfway decent defense. I mean, they got Max Crosby, who's a crazy person. But I'm a big Baker Mayfield fan, and I think he deserves to win, and he does everything he can to help his team. Does he make a costly mistake occasionally? Yes. So did everybody else that's ever played the game. All right, but I'm going with the Bucs on that one. I'm taking the Cardinals over the Seahawks. That's like really a toss-up game. Cardinals depends which team shows up. You never know. But I'll take the Cardinals over the Seahawks. Here's the best game of the day, probably. Bills at the Rams. Now the Rams are a 6-6 football team. The Bills are trying to get back in the mix of things. They're saying they're the best team to win, to dethrone Kansas City in the race for the Super Bowl. But we'll see. The Bills have a bad history when it comes to the Super Bowl. Okay. They had Jim Kelly as quarterback. I don't know if he's still alive, but sit down and talk to him. 4 Super Bowls in a row they went to, 4 Super Bowls in a row they lost. Okay, so it's not that the Chiefs just don't want to go back to the Super Bowl because that's been done before. They want to go back and win it, which has not been done before, to win 3 in a row. All right, so it's going to be interesting. Who did the Chiefs play? Oh, the Chiefs played already, right? Wait a minute. Hold on a second. I'm missing something. I'm missing a game here. But as I'm doing that, let me just bring up like I said, it could be a very, very good game because they're at home. The Rams are at home. Now, sometimes that's good for a team, sometimes it's not. I'm really not sure how that's going to play out. We'll have to wait and see there. But I do think that the Bills will win the game. And the Raiders play the 49ers. And I don't know what's wrong with the 49ers. But the Raiders don't have... I don't think the Raiders have enough offense to win the game. Wait and see there. It could be a close game. That's a rivalry game. West Coast rivalry game. Those games are usually pretty good to watch. Now wait a minute. The 49ers don't play the Raiders. 49ers play the Bears. I'm sorry. They don't like each other, but that should be a good game. But again, there's something wrong with the Bears' offense. They're 4-18. But then again, the 49ers are 5-7. So that should be a fairly decent game to watch. But I'm taking the Bears in that game. And I'm a big 49er fan. Now this is the game where it gets interesting now. For some reason I skipped over this game. That's why I couldn't find it. But the Chargers play the Chiefs. Now the Chiefs have to finally put everything together, or they're going to be in trouble. Because the Chargers are a good football team. They have problems with good football teams. So we'll wait and see what happens there. I don't think this. I think they'll lose the game. The Chiefs will lose it. If the Chiefs lose, they're going to lose it kind of big. I think. I don't think it's going to be one of those one-score games. I think they're running out of them. But I'm going to take the Chiefs in the game just because I like the team. And then we have the 4-8 Bengals versus the 5-7 Cowboys, and I'm taking the Bengals. And the only reason I'm taking the Bengals is I hate the Cowboys, and they just can't have enough bad karma. Okay, all right, that takes care of my football picks for Sunday. You guys all take care, and I'll see y'all Monday morning or sometime anyhow. Have a good one.